gonna go over my new Chow. This is kind of designed after what Justin Rhodes come up with. I'm gonna go through some of the things I've done and why, based off of my experiences and watching what other people have done on the internet. A lot of YouTube research and some common sense. So I'll go through it. Anyways, let's see here. You got a 2x6 base all the way around on the inside for your support, your main structure. Then you got 4x4 corners, and then you got 2x2s throughout pretty much everything. And the 2x2s, I know they're not as strong, but they're for weight. These 8-foot sheets of 10, they come 8 foot. I left them that way, and I just went ahead and came over the front. It provides a little bit of a kind of a shelter, so when the driving rain comes in, this is still kind of protected. And I put this as a head knocker in here in case you hit that 10, it would have cut you. So that's what the wood's for. I'm not a very tall person, as you can see, so it doesn't really bother me. And it won't be anybody but me and my kids and my wife. So, and we're not very tall. So, anyways, I need to screw that down. But anyways, you got an automatic door which opens up and closes. It opens up at 5 in the morning and it closes at 9. It's on a timer, which is in here. And here's your, you got a solar, I don't know if you can see that, got a solar charge controller there, and the timer's in there as well. I'll put a link to some of this stuff once I get this uploaded. So, yeah, and then this goes to that charge controller. Very simple. This is a Mighty Mule, like what you would have for a gate. I can add a DC light later if I wanted, or a DC fan. I got plenty of sunlight here in Texas. Stays plenty hot. I'll just face this, always face it south. It should be okay. The thing is real light, and I can use one hand and then move it. Bring it to the axle. The axle is a solid axle. It's a carbon steel axle. I have 3 of those. I forget their name, but I did put 2, and then the tires were bowing. They were bowing in with the little weights on it now. So I took and put a 3rd one right there in the middle and bolted it up to keep the camera, or I don't know what it's called. Other people are designing Chevelles and restoring them, and I'm making chicken coops. So anyways, this nest box in here, that's from The Best Nest Box. From what I've seen, the chickens like to roost high. I have a nesting box on my other coop, and the nest box is kind of high, so they'll actually nest up in the nest box. And I don't want them nesting in there. I want them nesting up on the perch, the roost. All right. Looks pretty cool. It's a rollaway box. You come in here, it's actually slanted down, so the eggs actually roll away. I've had egg eaters in the past. They come in there and they'll eat all your eggs once they get a taste for them. And then chickens are smart; they'll teach the other chickens to eat them. All the roof is on a pitch where all the water will flow down. It comes down into here. Comes down from the gutter. Goes in to there, comes down, and then it goes to this nipple. I don't know if you can see that. There's one nipple there. My wife asked, why didn't you put 2? You got 2 nipples, you're twice as likely to have a failure than with 1 nipple. You can see it from here. There, you see it down in there? So there's 1 nipple. These are my favorite water nipples for chickens, because they're actually, let me get them, they're spring loaded. They got a spring in there and an O-ring instead of the gravity feed ones. It'll actually return it back. The only part that sucks is they're not threaded. That's deceiving. That's not really a thread. It doesn't screw in. It just kind of pushes in. But anyways, that's why there's just 1. Less likely to leak. And so this this valve right here is so I can drain this whole assembly. So when there's a freeze coming in the wintertime, I can drain this, and they'll just do without water in here for the freeze, and they'll be fine. We don't, I mean, it doesn't stay freezing very long here in Texas. As this fills up with the gutter, it actually comes up here and you see the water hose. The water hose overflows into this water hose before it actually just overflows the gutter. This will go into a 55-gallon drum external of the coop. That provides them with water when they're out and about in their run. And on that 55-gallon drum, I have this same piece that comes out of the mouth of that 55-gallon drum, except it has 2 nipples on it. If it fails, they have this, and now and vice versa. So, and then thinking about, this is about a 30-gallon drum inside here, and all this has been sprayed down with Weather Seal, Thompson's. All the rails have been sprayed down with Thompson's. Oh, and the axle is a carbon steel axle. So I cut the PVC. I didn't want to pay for stainless axle, so that's carbon steel axle. So I put PVC on there. That way, when they poop, the acid and stuff doesn't eat away at that carbon steel. Those are all greasable bearings, and the actual wheels are this solid state wheel, like Justin Rhodes suggested. I like solid state. So it's flat free, and I'll put links to where I got these fittings and what size I got. Let's see here. So that'll overflow and fill up that external drum. If I get it to a spot and I feel like it's going to be tipsy, I got this wheelie bar that I can jack up the back end, you know. And so now it shouldn't pop a wheelie. And that I don't think I'm going to need this, but it's there just in case. You got here's their water. I mean their feeder. It's a dog food feeder. So it holds 50 pounds. I don't know if you can see that. It holds 50 pounds of dog food, plus this was the lid that used to flap down. Well, I bolted it up, that way when I throw feed in there, I don't have to worry about it going out the back. So I can be sure not to drop it in the front, I can throw it in the back. And so instead of flipping this down, if I flip this down, I would have more entry for water. And this is kind of a tacky looking part of the whole thing. But I overlapped all this tin. You siliconed all this. I had this extra piece of tin up here. I need to cut these corners or put some pipe, some PVC with the slit in around it, or maybe just think of something else so that nobody gets cut on this. But like I said, it's mostly me. And just go up like that. It holds it open for you to be able to dump pretty much a whole bag. This will hold 50 pounds plus some. And I'm thinking that once it gets low where I can see it in the trough and I know it's pretty much empty, I'll be able to fit a whole nother bag on top of that. So there's that. It's been Thompson's Weather Seal, the whole thing. I guess that's about it. You can see the tray. It's called Pet Lodge Chow Hound. And I wanted to bring it up because they like to scratch. I might have to end up getting a piece of mesh or wire, some thick wire like this, and putting it in there to keep them from getting in there and scratching. They like to scratch low. I don't know if that's going to be a problem yet, but we'll find out. If it is, I've come this far. And so, and another thing is about the, I don't know if I covered that, the reason for the wire, instead of being a solid floor, and the reason for being so wide instead of like hardware cloth like this. This would be better for their feet, but wire in general is just not good for their feet. But you gotta weigh, what do you think is worse, standing in poop and feces, or, I mean, because some of them are gonna decide just to sleep on the ground, or, you know, you got your chickens got their own personalities. So they'll come up in here, jump up in here, and pop and fly up to the top, and I'm sure they'll roost there all night. So it'll be minimal that they get on this. The only reason why they'll be getting back and forth is to eat and to lay. And I figure this will keep it clean, everything drops to the bottom, and I don't have to do anything. It might build up on those 2x6 runners, but that's no big deal. I mean, it is what it is. So that looks about it. So, and it's easy for my wife or even my kids to move. I mean, just, and I know there's no chicken or feed or all that water in there, but if I can move it with one hand now, and I know I'm going to be going on over terrain and stuff, and that was the whole point. My chicken coop I have right now, I have to use my tractor to move it, and it has to be dry outside, and sometimes we get, you know, months of rain, so and it's just not possible. So this will allow me to move them onto different padlocks. Let me go over that 55-gallon drum on what I'm talking about. You can see there's the meat bird tractor. Of course, the sun's right in the thing. So I have these padlocks. See, 1 padlock, 2 padlock, 3 padlock, 4 padlock, and I'll be able to move them from padlock to padlock easier than the one like I have right here that I have a hitch on. This one's got the hitch, and I move it around. It's got see, it's too heavy. There's got the wheels on it still. And here's the 55-gallon drum I was talking about that I'll have that water hose go into. Here's your nipples, and they know they either drink this or you die. We have an understanding. Drink it or die. And all these birds have been out here for quite a while now, and the ones who decided to die are gone. So here's my old lay box. You see how